It's kind of creepy. These are like hold on. I was going to say utilitarian.
Yeah.
But this is something you're just using. This isn't like a fashion show.
My buddy, my friend, just need to go. Our friendship won't end. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy.
Hello and welcome to Girls Who Came to Sugar Bakers, where nerds and platonic life partners Erin and Leslie watch episodes of Designing Women, then recap, review, and share other fun things related to the show. I'm Leslie.
And I'm Erin.
What's up?
Hi. Hi. What? I said, wait, why are we quiet? We've only been doing this for 4 years.
Right?
Where do we go from here?
Why should we get our
My
shit
goodness.
together now? There's no
You know
need.
what? Yeah, I know. You know what? That's a good point. That's a good point. I've listened to way more popular podcasts who have their shit less together, so we're fine.
Hey, we're fine.
Hey. I'm really surprised at how, like, clearly someone is, like, on the phone taping.
Yeah.
Like, stop. Like, now in 2020? Stop it.
In
Come
2020.
on. Come on.
The year of our
Microphone.
pandemic,
What are you doing?
2020.
Oh my God, the year of our pandemic. I wonder if there's going to be like a pre-post something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is the 9/11 for those kids who don't remember 9/11, I guess.
Let me tell you, like I said yesterday, I'm so glad I'm not a little kid right now.
Yeah, me too.
There's
My
no
niece is
way they
so
have
bored.
any Yeah, exactly. Like, they have no idea. Oh my
Nope.
God. Also, by the way, speaking of your niece, tangent, Facebook reminded me that we were all at the beach 6 years ago, and she was so tiny, and it was
She was so
upsetting.
cute.
I mean, she's still cute, but like, oh God.
Clean my feet.
It's a 6-year anniversary of cleaning my.
She will
did she say
look.
that to,
She'll
her
be
mom or
30
her
years
dad, or
old.
you?
No, to me. It was to me.
That's what made it.
She will be 30 years old, and
Yeah.
her, husband, wife, whatever. I will still
Yeah.
be telling them that story.
Yeah, you will. It'll be at the speech of the wedding.
That's
When
right.
she-
That's my
how-
toast.
She
Y'all
was a
remember?
little kid.
She was like, how many? It was 6 years ago. She was 4.
Yeah.
No, 2. She's 8.
Yeah.
2. I can
Yeah,
math.
there you go. Math.
Oh, good. The dryer stopped. Sorry, y'all may hear the dryer in the first.
Oh, I heard it
couple
a little bit,
minutes.
but I also have dryer going, so I thought
Okay, good.
it was in my headphones. It's funny.
No, it was me.
Did you try the towel trick? I'm trying the towel trick.
I forgot.
I
I'll
know.
do
I
it.
just
I'll do it
remembered.
in
I
2
forgot
weeks
it
when I
8
do laundry
times.
again.
For you guys don't know, that's something that came out on what was that? Earth Day that was recently. There were so many things like use these reusable, all these things that I already do because I'm obsessive, but with like being as environmental as possible. Not always, but I try. But one of them is if you have clothes in a like regular machine, washing machine, dryer machine. Hold on a second. Let's do this.
Back it up.
If you're using a machine dryer, there's not really a good. People just call it a dryer, I guess.
Yep.
To put a dry towel in helps it to dry faster. I don't understand why. Maybe the towel like slightly absorbs some of the moisture, and then it.
Oh, maybe.
Because I would think it would just be a big old mess. We'll see what happens. But that's supposedly a thing.
Gotta
that'll
report
help
back.
on top of having like wool balls, and you have the little. Aren't yours cacti? Or something, the little things, the little tumbly things
yes,
that you put in there.
Yes, my little dryer buddies.
Your little dryer buddies. Yeah, you're like, I don't know, they're in there right now, Erin. So I'm trying that out. Anyway, God, we've been tangent and boring enough. I don't know.
It's a pandemic. We're quarantined.
It's a damn pandemic. Some people love us talking. Some people hate us talking. Them's the breaks.
Sorry, y'all can just fast forward.
Yeah, honestly.
You could hit that little 30-second ahead button or whatever. Do you also have to have that?
Look, it's a dream, that little button. It's and the 15-second back if that's how you have yours set up, because that's how I have mine set up. For some reason, 15 back, 30 forward.
I think mine's
unless I'm in
30
an
forward
audiobook.
and 10 back, which is weird.
Oh,
But I never like mess with it. That's just what it was.
interesting.
Yeah.
So Leslie, what have you been up to while you've been stuck at the DMV with Charlene?
I've been sewing
Okay.
every day. So if you need a mess,
You have.
hit me up. I finished a print book. Well, it's an ebook, but like
Whoa.
not an audio book. It was very short. It's called Empress of Salt and Fortune. It was very good. It's almost like a retelling of a fairy tale, or like a legend or something.
Uh-huh.
It has Asian roots, and it's about a princess who was like discarded, and she like got her revenge, and it's good. It's out now.
Sounds good.
And I listened to a bunch of audiobooks on minimalism because my holds came up at the same time, like they do.
Of course.
Like I didn't just be like, I'm going to read 10 books on this. Over the course of weeks, I'm like, ooh, place a hold, ooh, place a hold, ooh, place a hold, and then they all come up at one time.
Because they get the funding in.
Yeah, because there's all this emergency funding right now, so they just keep buying things, which I'm cool with. I wish they would start buying all the trash that I recommend that they buy, but whatever. I recommend a lot of trash. Sunny and I have been hanging out, doing work, going to meetings. She is obsessed with meetings. She likes to be in the middle of them.
For work meetings, we should say.
Yes, Zoom meetings. We're social distancing. She likes for everyone to see her butt in meetings. So.
Oh, it's so cute.
What else? That's really it. Sleeping, cooking, doing laundry.
Yeah.
How about you?
I am obsessed over the past 24 hours with the movie that you sent me.
Oh yeah, I watched that movie too.
Frickin' Extraordinary. I don't know why it has gotten me so much, but it's very in the vein for me of like What We Do in Shadows.
That's what I thought too. As soon as I finished
very
it.
What We Do in Shadows. Kind of a lighter, more fun Shaun of the Dead. Like Shaun of the Dead before it gets serious, which I used to do. I used to watch Shaun of the Dead before it's really sad. But it was still kind of fun and dumb and whatever. Yeah, it's in those lines. I watched it again this morning, which I already told you, but that cracked me up. And I could have like just hit play, and I decided to we rented it, and I was like, I'm gonna buy it. Like watch it over and over if I want. So into it. I just love the characters because it's in. Oh, by the way, I had to look it up because I was like, they have cell phones, but they kind of have cassettes, and she mentions a CD. It's like early 2000s Ireland. That's great. Yeah, that is so specific, but like, it's a time you can almost be a little bit nostalgic for if you're of a certain age, but then like
if you were in high school,
it's not going to seem that different to some people. Like our age is like, it's not going to like exactly seem that different, and then you're like, oh wait, yeah, it's a little bit how like Napoleon Dynamite did that to me when I first saw it. I was like, is this in time, or is it just like the Midwest, or like what is going on? So I had a little bit of that with this, where it took me a minute to be like, oh wait, it's like kind of a joke that they all had these Nokia phones that everyone had. Yep. This must have been one of those, like in like later 90s or something. And I don't know if I did. I probably did. That cracks me up that your dad had a cell phone.
Oh like, yeah, he had one of the big Motorola's, not the Zack Morris Motorola, but like the next one after that.
Specifically Zack Morris, really? I love that.
I always just see him talking on that giant cell phone.
Oh, that's so funny. Why did a kid in high school have a giant phone? You're right. Yeah. Wonder if I can find a picture of that. Probably I can.
I'm sure.
That's good. So I loved Extraordinary. It was a sad week. We lost a furry friend, you and I, and our friends who are his parents. And so sad. I was not very useful. I was actually sad a lot. I was really sad.
It's very sad. He was the best.
Yeah, and it was like sudden, It was just like, cats do that to you though. Yep. Right? They'll be like, oh, I'm kind of not doing that well. And then suddenly it's like, oh, it's now. Like, oh, man.
I'm dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So it was that kind of thing. So that was sad. So I was having like kid gloves for myself this week and trying to take care of our friends that are grieving their little kitty and stuff. So it was like, it's kind of a murk week for that reason. So yeah, it was nice to kind of cap it off with Extraordinary, this like just absolutely ridiculous movie that is fun, that we definitely would. Well, wait, why didn't we go? Alamo was.
It wasn't. It was out that one weekend that I was in Danville.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's when it came out, and then I don't think they had it very long.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, because that was after we saw Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and so then we didn't go back to Alamo again before the quarantine.
Oh.
So that was like the next one on our list.
That's so sad. It was making me so nostalgic for going to Alamo, but also because it was on like a lot of trailers too before we stopped being able to go. And then we should say that you rented it on Kino Now.
Mm-hmm.
And that specifically was helping the Alamo Family Fund the way you did it, but it's also just an app also for people.
Yeah, so they've partnered with a bunch of indie theaters. Kino Now has, so you can go to like the website of your local theater, and if they have partnered with them, it'll be like, get your virtual tickets now. And so you go through your theater's website, so that when you make your purchase, the however much money, like I think for Chelsea, when I did the booksellers, it was like $5. And I'm not sure how much exactly went to Alamo, but it's like half of your ticket price goes to Kino and half of it goes directly to your theater.
That's great. So you can still support your local theaters. That's wonderful. Okay. So that's another good way. And again, if you guys have organizations that you are working with, you want us to shout out, just drop us a line. So like I said, specifically on like Twitter is really great, or like Facebook, places I can easily just like share, retweet, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're excited to be back. We actually are taping 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
For the first time in a long time.
A very long, like maybe not since I moved here, but close.
But yeah, pretty close.
Because like everything blew up.
Yep.
Eventually. So yeah. So there we go. Did you have anything else you wanted to share?
Nope. I'm good.
Okay. Well, I can say what happened. How we usually say it? Like, what did we watch this week? Is that
this week? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this week we watched. Ooh, we're not in season 7.
Nope.
We're in season 6. Whoops.
We're close. We're on the last disc now, officially, of season 6.
Oh
I
my
started ripping the last disc.
Yeah, there are only, I think, 3 or 4 episodes after this or something like that. And then I think that season 7 is considered garbage by everyone.
Yeah. So we're going to have fun with that one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So everyone just enjoy the end of season 6, basically.
Savor it.
Oh, me. So season 6, episode 19. Oh, it's not Seen from a Mall. It is all about, what is it?
Odes to Atlanta.
All about Odes to Atlanta. Thank you. I don't know. I was doing weird things. Clearly, I changed the season, but not the title. Oops. Okay, let's try that again. Season 6, episode 19. All about Odes to Atlanta, which is a nod to All About Eve. That they even mention in the episode, and that is an amazing movie.
Such a good movie.
I'm pretty sure,
Bette
isn't
Davis.
She's so awesome. And that's Joanne Woodward. Woodward. She's not Woodward. Was in that, right? And that's what she got her Oscar for. Is that one?
Anne Baxter is the main character.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking? Oh, no, I'm thinking of, she's in the one that's like The Faces or something.
3 Faces of Eve, which is also a really great movie.
That's the one I'm getting. But here's the funny thing. I've seen them both, and I'm just conflating the cast and the story in my head right now. And that's an absolute mess. Yes, 3 Faces of Eve. Different from All About Eve that I saw like a long time ago. I'd probably say 15 years ago. Also very good. Yeah, you said Bette Davis. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's where the title comes from. Let's try this again. Ring it in. TV Guide reads, Carlene. Oh, sorry. It first aired March 2nd, 1992. Carlene gains notoriety and her first groupie by entering Atlanta's theme song contest. It's specifically for, we should say, the theme song is around the Olympics that were
when they had
there.
them in Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what it's for. And I do want to say they didn't do anything but the regular cast as listed in on TV Guide. But I wanted to say that Heather is played by Lisa Jane Persky. Great character actress.
I can't believe they didn't put her in TV Guide.
I thought that was weird. They just
Rude.
put the regular cast. I was like, excuse me? She'd done like so much stuff by now. But
I figured they would even put like the stage manager. Like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the stage manager actually had like lines and stuff. Nope. They did not. Let me make sure I've got that right. That they didn't. It's just Anthony, Carlene, Mary Jo, and Julia. Oh, and Bernice are all
who
the
is
people that
on
listed.
fire this episode.
Oh my god, Leslie! I think I watched this episode a little too early for Bernice.
She's doing a lot. I would dare say she's doing the most this episode.
The absolute most. Leslie, what is she doing? What happens in this episode?
All right, so we start off right off the bat with her answering the phone. I have the notes start as usual, but I was trying to segue with Bernice. And then I explained it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Now we're here. Okay. Bernice answering the phone. And if you would like to see a mashup of all the ways she answers the phone this episode, please go to our YouTube page. I did a video of all the times she answers the phone.
You're on fire today, speaking
thanks.
of. Geez.
All the gifs, all the videos. This episode is gold.
Yeah.
And she says, crazy sugar bakers, our prices are insane. And then Julie's like, I got it. And she picks the phone up and starts talking. And Allison asks Anthony why he brought Bernice in here to answer the phones. And he's like, Allison, I did not bring her in here to answer the phones. I merely mentioned how swamped we were. And then when I got here, she was here answering the phones. And then it rings again. And she picks it up. And she says, sugar bakers, our girls work cheap. And Anthony's like, I got it. And then Allison is talking to her. And she's like, Bernice, if you must answer the phone, just say sugar bakers. And Bernice is like, I'm sorry, dear, but that's boring. And then it rings again. This is, I posted this GIF on my personal Facebook page and tagged my friend Russell because he also loves designing women. We went to college together. And he used to always say booger shakers. And so she answers the phone and she says,
that one got me.
Good morning, booger shakers. And so I tagged him and it was like, this one's for you, Russell.
Oh, that's good.
And then she and Allison like are literally fighting over the phone right before that happens. And of course Bernice wins. But then Anthony is talking about, here we go. Here's another, we need a count for this too, like the weird Southern names.
Oh yeah.
Bootsy Pittman wants Anthony to check on her iguana. For context, they are decorating Bootsy and her husband's house, and they are doing 14 rooms in 10 days. They are not home. They keep calling Anthony, or she keeps calling Anthony, wanting him to like spoon feed her iguana. And he's like, I want to say, Bootsy, you're in, is it Bimini? Is that what he says?
Bimini, yeah.
Bimini. Okay. He says, get your pale butt on the beach. And Allison's like, you people got to get a better attitude about this job. Lester Pittman is just the kind of customer that Sugar Bakers needs to be associated with. Don't think of it as working hard. Think of it as sucking up. Mm-hmm. And Julian's like, it's so great. Gee, that's a lovely sentiment, Allison. Perhaps we should embroider it on a sampler.
That got me.
Me too. And Mary Jo comes in and she's like warning everyone. And she's like, I need to talk to you, Julia. Carlene has written this song. And Julia's like, Carlene has written many songs, Mary Jo. And she's like, no. This is special. She wrote a song for Atlanta for the Olympics, and the song has made the semifinals in this competition. And Julia says, are we speaking of the same Carlene who wrote the favorite, The Good Old Days? They were good. They were old. They were days.
Gosh, she was so sassy when she said this. It was so much.
Yeah. Mary Jo's like, well, yes, but this one's really cute. I even told her I'd help her sing it, but she really sees it as a trio. And she's staring at Julia, and Julia's like, no way, Mary Jo, not doing it. And she's like, come on, we really need you. You're the only one who knows all the technical musical things like pitch. And Julia says, pitch has never been a factor in Carlene's songs. There's no way on God's green earth you're going to get me. And then, like, as she's saying this, Carlene comes in, and she's like, have you heard about my song? And Julia's like, yes, we did, Carlene. Congratulations. And she says that Mary Jo has agreed to help her sing it. And, she's like, Julia, it would just take a minute for me to teach it to you. Then we'd be just like Emmylou Harris and Linda Ronstadt and Dolly Parton. And Allison's like, Carlene, we don't have time to listen to your dog patch ditties. Oh, that was hard to say.
What does that mean?
I don't know. And Carlene's like, look, it's a crossover hit. It's country pop. And like, if it makes it to the Olympics, I will have realized a personal best. And she's like, Julia, you got to help me. You know, I only need 1 hour. That's it. And then she goes and she's like, listen. And so she kind of starts like playing a little bit. The full song is also up on our YouTube. If you want to hear it, like the end spoilers, it's the end of the episode, like the final one.
Yeah.
And you know, it sounds kind of cute. And Julia's like, gee, you know, those are real lyrics. This song actually has some potential. What are you calling it? And Allison says, let me guess. Variations on a Hooterville hit. Allison.
Is Allison supposed to be not from here?
Is
what I just realized.
She lived in New York. I don't know if she ever lived in Georgia before New York, but she presents as if she is from New York. But she's a sugar baker, so they're all from Atlanta.
See, I thought,
or Georgia.
I always was just assuming, incorrectly, of course, probably, that she was from, like, the South, but thought, like, she was better than the South and lived in New York.
That's what I thought, too, but I don't know if they ever actually, like...
I know, I don't think they say that. So maybe she is just, like, from New York or something. Because she is always trying to separate herself from them.
Yeah. And Carlene says, it's called Atlanta, where my sweet dreams come true. She's so precious.
That's sweet.
And then Anthony comes out, and he's like, what's going on? And Allison's like, well, it's hootenanny time. Grab a washboard, blow into a jug, and I'll just go into my squaw dance, which I don't like that. That doesn't...
Squaw dance?
That's what it sounded like she said.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
I don't know if she was trying to say square dance, but squaw dance, A, makes no sense, and B, is racist. Yeah, but I listened to it twice, and that's what it sounded like. So
maybe she was trying to say square dance and made it sound really... trying to make it Southern or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have closed captioning, so I couldn't see. But she says something.
Yeah.
And the phone rings again, and Bernice answers, Sugar Bakers, stand by your man.
Why?
I love it. Later, then we cut to later. Carlene comes in with Heather. She says that Heather is their first groupie, and then introduces her to the group. And Bernice says, I was Vic Damone's first groupie for a while. It was a Fatal Attraction kind of thing. And when it got too ugly, I dumped him for Mitch Miller. I don't know who either of these people are.
Okay, I didn't either. I didn't hear properly. I thought she said Ramones.
Oh, that would have been so much funnier. Well, to me, it would have been.
Yeah,
funny,
it didn't make. Yeah, it seemed really what to me. I was like, huh?
I looked them both up. I don't know them. I've never heard any of their songs. But Vic Damone apparently was like a singer and an entertainer. And then Mitch Miller was an oboist and a conductor. What? So, like, real rock and roll guys here.
What? No. What?
And so, like, how did you meet this person? And Heather has a friend who is on the song committee, and she got to hear, she, like, played all the semifinalist tapes for Heather, and she thinks that Carlene's is the best one.
See, I should have known this was weird from that, because that's weird.
That is weird.
But this show is weird, and it's been weird this whole episode, so I didn't really...
True.
I just went with it.
And Julia says, should we really be privy to that information? And Heather says, the judges just went on and on and on about your voice, Julia. And she's like, oh, they did? Well, that's flattering. Won't you sit down? She always does that.
That was so good.
And then Carlene says that Heather's volunteered to be their road manager, costume designer, and handle all of their press. Like, Carlene is really jumping the gun here.
Yeah.
And Mary Jo's like, that's really sweet, but, like, I don't think you should paint our names on the side of the customized tour bus just yet. And Julia's like, also, we don't want to take advantage of Heather. And she says, that's okay. I'm just a grocery store checkout girl. I don't have much to fill up my time. And music is really the only thing that keeps me from feeling lonely.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Then Anthony comes in and he's like, I just got back from Pittman Hill and the iguana has scared off the painters. I think it ate some of it because he's looking kind of peaked. Or she, whatever he calls the iguana. And Heather says that she saw on the National Geographic Explorer that iguanas need sunlight every day or they'll lose their luster. She's like, I watch it all the time. It's the only traveling I get to do. She's like really laying it on thick.
Yeah.
And Anthony's like, thank you. I'm glad to know that. Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mary Jo introduces her as their first groupie. And Heather says, y'all must be very busy. I won't take up any more of your time. And then Carlene says, you're as welcome as the sunshine anytime. She's so cute. And Heather says, good. Maybe I'll come back this afternoon. Wow, that's eager.
I know. I really liked "We're as welcome as the sunshine." I think that's really precious.
Really
and
cute.
Something you would say. But yeah, just too soon.
Too soon.
Afternoon.
And then Mary Jo's like, "Well, sure. I mean, we'll be here." And Heather's like, "I just feel privileged to be a part of your glamorous lives." And then she leaves.
I felt a little bit. This is a little bit like when I was like going to Toronto and going to like Songbuster shows, like a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, that's me.
But you weren't grifting
like
anybody. Spoilers.
What?
I said spoilers. You weren't grifting anybody.
Oh, that is spoilers. I thought you were saying fake spoilers for something of my life. But yeah, you're right. I was literally not after anything.
Nope. And then Carlene's like, isn't she just darling? And Allison says, I think she's pathetic. What self-respecting groupie would latch onto you and she could be chasing rock stars?
Rude.
And Mary Jo says, well, maybe she's just a novice groupie. Maybe she's going to cut her teeth on us and then move up to somebody like John Denver.
What? That is... But you know what? John Denver probably did have groupies.
I'm sure he did.
He was like really pleasant, right? Like,
yeah.
Funny.
And then Bernice is like, I think I was his groupie too.
Yeah, of course.
And then we cut to later again, and Allison asks Anthony what he thinks of this Heather person. Mm-hmm. And Anthony says, I don't know, Allison. You have to admit... Oh, she told the story. I guess I missed this. In my notes. I thought I took notes on it. Anyway, she tells this story about...
that she followed her?
No. The one about her mom and the pizza.
Oh, yes.
Did I just?
It's really confusing because it's like her mom was supposed to open, she like got all this money. It was supposed to open a pizza place, but then she found out she was allergic to mozzarella.
Yes. And so she asks Anthony what he thinks about this. And he's like, Allison, you have to admit that story. Oh, no, this is where we find out about it. Okay. I was confused because he just started talking and I thought Heather told the story. But we didn't actually see Heather tell the story.
They do that sometimes.
Yeah. Confusing. And he says, you have to admit that story about her poor mother scrimping and saving to buy a pizza parlor in Wingo, Georgia?
Yeah.
Just to find out she was allergic to mozzarella cheese. That's very pitiful. And Allison's like, she could have picked that up from Queen for Midday. What's wrong with this picture? She's enamored of 3 singing decorators. She's like, I think I'm going to conduct a background check on that miserable little waif. And Anthony's like, how are you going to do that? And she's like, well, I have a knack for espionage. I came this close to being recruited by the CIA when I was at Wellesley. Drink every time she mentions that she went to Wellesley.
Look, I have a friend who went... People who have been there are very excited about it.
I mean, I guess if I went there, I'd tell everybody too. She's like, but I couldn't speak Farsi, darn it. And then Anthony says, I hate to be hard on somebody who's had such a bad time with pizza, but there's something a little disturbing about Heather. And Allison's like, cool, so you'll help me. And he's like, no, Allison, you're pretty disturbing yourself.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, sue yourself, but the glory will be all mine. What glory? You're going to find out
the
this
glory
girl...
of being right?
What? I don't understand. So Allison drops something off the counter and she like bends over. When she's behind it, Heather comes in and she like starts going through Julia's desk.
Oh, I hate it. It made me so... Oh, it skeeved me out.
Yeah. And then like... I hated it. Allison is a terrible spy. She immediately pops up and was like, ha, I caught you. But like she had barely opened a drawer.
Yeah, she hadn't really done anything. You gotta really catch her.
Done anything yet. Like, be patient. She's not patient.
No.
But she immediately pops up and is like, I'm on to you. I've been on to you since the moment you walked through that door playing Poor Pitiful Pearl. There's never been a pizza parlor in Wingo, Georgia. And Heather's like, how did you know that? And Allison's like, it was an educated guess. I know you little grifter. I rifled through a few drawers myself. The only thing that I can't figure is what's in it for you. And she says, nothing. I just want to be everybody's friend. Allison's like, yeah, you and John Gotti. That joke I got. I didn't get Bernice's jokes, but I got that one.
Yeah.
And Heather starts crying and apologizing that Allison doesn't like her. Meanwhile, everyone else comes in while Allison is standing there smug and Heather is crying. And they're like, awful. What did you do to her?
Yeah.
Allison's like, this is just part of her act. She was going through Julia's desk. And Heather's like, oh, well, the finalists are going to be notified this afternoon, so I just made you good luck presents. Even made one for Allison so she wouldn't feel left out. And the phone rings again, and Bernice picks it up. Sugar Baker's now and forever. And
I'm so glad you got all of these.
I love her so much. And Mary Jo says that, Allison really shouldn't keep her gift. And Heather's like, no, I want her to have it. And Allison's like, yeah, there's no pizza parlor in Winnow, Georgia, whatever it's called. She made it up. And she was like, oh, well, I thought if I told you the truth that you wouldn't like me, that my mother was in jail for mail fraud. She's like, mail fraud is a federal offense. And then just like keeps crying. And Carlene hugs her.
She's a mess.
And she's like, Allison, shame, shame. I know your name. Gift that to you.
I loved that.
And then we cut back to Bernice, and she's like, I'm sorry. You must have me confused with someone who cares. I also gift that.
Wow.
That's a good line. And then Julie, she hangs up, and Julie's like, who is that? And Bernice is like, everyone who calls here is mixed up. It was some fruitcake trying to tell me that I'm a finalist in a song contest.
Oh, my God. Bernice, where have you been?
Where have you been, Bernice?
The whole episode.
And they're just like, Carlene's like, we made it. And then we cut to later, and the phone rings again, and Bernice picks it up and says, Sunday, 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 Sugar Baker blows the lid off prices. She's a nut. And Mary Jo grabs the phone from her, and like by this time they've hung up. And she's like, Bernice, you know what really help us is if you would do some work on the files. Like, we haven't had a chance to put anything away in weeks. And Bernice is like, okay, do you have a system? Mary Jo's like, it's just alphabetical. And Bernice says, how does that work? Bernice. It's like some of the people who work at the library can't put books on a shelf. I was literally about
to say that. Oops.
I literally stand at the whole shelf sometimes and just be like, the alphabet. And then everyone can
alphabet.
Hear me. Like, that's not how the alphabet works. And then Mary Jo's like, all right, maybe you should just stick to the phone. And then Julia they're talking about costumes with Heather, and she's like, we should really just keep it simple. I know it's a country song, but we don't want to go out there dressed like Minnie Pearl. I also got that reference.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, this is a fabric I was thinking. It's really pretty, black sequin. And Carlene's like, ooh, Julia, this is pretty ding dang classy. Julie's like, yes, Carlene, ding dang was exactly the expression I was searching for. And Heather's like, don't worry, Julia, I'll make sure it's up to your standards. And then Allison leans over the couch and like kind of whispers to her, sell it to someone who's buying.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah. And then Heather
is real sassy this episode.
She's so sassy. Heather's arranged for a hair and makeup artist. And Mary Jo says that she's going through too much trouble for all this. Like, I hope you're not neglecting your duties over at the Winn-Dixie. And Heather says, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know when I've had this much fun. And then she's like, I'll see y'all later. And she leaves. And Carlene says, she is just the sweetest thing to walk the face of the earth, isn't she?
Huh.
And Allison says, she's a force of evil. She is the devil incarnate.
So good. So good.
And Mary Jo's like, you really don't like her, do you? She says, no, Mary Jo, I don't. And it might interest you to know that I followed her to that grocery store, and she's no checker. She's a common bagger.
I love how just Allison seems so crazy.
Yeah. And Carlene's like, what's your problem? Everybody loves her except you. And then Mary Jo's like at her desk, and she like covers her face and like looks down and gets really quiet. And she's like, Mary Jo, and she's like, well, to be honest, I think she's like one of those happy face buttons. They're supposed to make you happy, but they really just tick you off. But Allison seems to think she's such a bad egg. I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. And Julia says that she likes her, but she thinks she has some self-esteem problems. But also they shouldn't encourage her to fawn all over them.
Yeah.
And she's like, Carlene, she's just like, we're just her role models. And she's like, I know what that's like, standing at the checkout counter, listening to music, thinking about your mama cooling her heels in the clink. Where does she get this stuff?
I know.
She's like, I don't mean to be critical, but I think y'all have a problem with her because you don't think she's good enough for you.
Well, I mean, they have been snobby in the past, so this kind of works.
They have. Yeah. And then Allison confirms that by saying, well, she's not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Bernice says, I think it's terrible how they treat that poor little girl. It's like the way you take advantage of me. I've been working in this snake pit for days now, and I've yet to see a paycheck. I made a gif of that, and I wanted to be like 3 days before payday. When you haven't had a paycheck in a month and you still got to wait 3 more days.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
And then Anthony comes in and Carlene asks what he thinks of Heather. And he says, she reminds me of Ann Baxter in that movie All About Eve. Remember how Eve shows up in that dowdy hat and frumpy raincoat and worms her way into everyone's heart with that little self-effacing way? And all that time she was trying to destroy Bette Davis. And Mary Jo says, good thing, Anthony, that Eve was after something. But, like, what could Heather, like, possibly want from us? And Allison's like, that's one nut I haven't been able to crack, but I'll tell you something. She's just like everybody else in this world, out for number one.
I was like, I didn't know. This caught me, like, so this surprised me. Every time they're like, what could she be after? I didn't even, like, think about it. I was like, yeah, duh. She's not after anything. I would be conned very easily.
And then Carlene says, well, now, if you feel that way, I feel really sorry for you. You've got to learn how to trust people. You might have those New York City smarts, but it doesn't amount to a hill of beans when it comes to friends. It doesn't compare to true friends, real friends, true blue friends. And Bernice is like, that was beautiful. I'd sing Kumbaya, but I don't know what the hell it means.
Oh, God.
Oh, Bernice.
Yeah.
And then we cut to, like, the night of the competition or whatever. And Julia and Mary Jo and Carlene come into their dressing room, and they have the biggest hair they've ever had on this show.
They must have some pieces in.
It was teased for the gods.
Honestly, no one's ever had hair like this.
No. And Julia's like, give me that hairbrush. And Carlene's like, no, you'll mess it up. And Julia says, I want to mess it up. My head is enormous.
No.
And Mary Jo's like, I told him to back off with that teasing comb, but he said he was following Heather's instructions. And Carlene says that she likes it. She thinks it gives Mary Jo star quality. And she says, have you ever noticed that celebrities either have big heads or big hair? And she's like, for example, you know, if you got a big head like Michelle Pfeiffer's, you ain't a real cat. You don't need big hair.
I like how you just snuck that in as if it were the line.
That's the line. That's what
I didn't know she had a big head.
I've never noticed. I don't think she has a big head. I don't know. She's like, but if you have a tiny head like Dolly Parton, you need big hair. And then Mary Jo says, and look at Patti LaBelle. She's got big head and a big hair. I've never noticed Patti LaBelle having a big head either.
Oh, man.
I don't understand. Maybe. I don't know. And she's like, I guess she's got it covered from every angle. And then Julia says she wonders where Heather is. It's like, oh, she took our music to the band. And then the stage manager comes in and tells them they've got 5 minutes. And Julia's like, I think we're in the wrong dressing room. Like, these are not our costumes. Like, we've got to do something about this. Or you have to do something about this. And he's like, do you see a pincushion on my wrist? My job is to get you on stage in 4 minutes. And Carlene's like, I thought you said 5. And he's like, not anymore. And then walks out. And Julia's like, all right, I guess we'll just have to wear street clothes. And Carlene's like, no, that'll spoil everything. And Mary's like, it'll be all right. You know, at least we've got our hair. And then they turn around in this closet and their street clothes are gone. So the only thing that's in there are these costumes that we have not seen yet.
We have not seen. Yeah.
That are not theirs. And Julia says, I think there's something funny around here, and it's Heather. Mm-hmm. And then Allison comes in, and she's like, why are y'all not dressed? And Julia says, someone has taken our clothes and our costumes and left us with those. And Allison's like, oh, really? And who could that be? You don't think it's the Heather the gift bunny, do you? And could it be Heather the hugger who is responsible for your hairdos from hell? She is real smug right now.
Yeah.
She's like, and surely it couldn't be Heather, the true blue friend who's following you on tonight's program. And then Julia grabs the program,
loved that reveal.
Sure enough, Heather McFall is performing right after them. And Julia says, I guess our innocent little Winn-Dixie checkbagger has fixed our wagons for good. And Carlene's so upset. She's like, she set us up, but she worshipped me. I trusted her. I thought y'all were just being snotty about her, but now she's fixed it so we can't go on at all. And Julia says, yes, we can. We're going to get in these costumes. We're going to go out there. You want a place in this show, and we're not going to let you down. Excuse me. You just got to fix a little something. And then Julia asks the stage manager, who is telling them it's time to go on stage and they're still in their robes, if he could show them to Heather's dressing room. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, right this way. I'm like, but you were just telling them to get on stage. Anyway. And then Julia, because this line would not work if Julia was not wearing her bathrobe.
Oh, yeah.
She, in her Bette Davis impression, she starts swinging the like tie on her robe, and she says, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night. And all I could think of was Moira Rose.
The way she said it.
Yes.
I'm so surprised I didn't catch it until you told me. And then Leslie sent that to me to put on our Instagram, by the way. So there we go.
And I wonder, like, it makes me wonder, like, if Catherine O'Hara, like, watched, you know, like, if she also got inspiration from Bette Davis.
Yeah.
Because clearly, like, Dixie is quoting Bette Davis here, but, like, that like put on sound and, you know, accent and stuff. And I never thought about it before. I'm just like,
Me
that's
neither.
Catherine O'Hara. Interesting. Dun, dun, dun. And then we cut to Sugar Bakers. They're all sitting in these giant tulle skirts with like 8 layers. And they're like up in their faces. Like these skirts are so big. They're sitting on the couch and the skirts are like almost to their chins. And Carlene says, maybe we weren't that bad. And Bernice says, I was there. Believe me, you were awful. The band never did find your music, did they? And Mary Jo says, nope. Heather thought of everything. And Carlene's like, how could one human being do this to another? And Julia says, because Carlene, Heather is a world-class sociopath.
Yeah, no, but she is, though.
She is, though. And Allison says, I know you're all going to think I told you so. I'm going to say I told you so, but I'm not. Just the sight of you in those hee-haw fly girl frocks is all, say that 10 times fast, is all that I told you so I'm going to need for the rest of my life. And then Carlene says, well, I guess Allison was right. The world is a dark and dangerous place. It's just full of dogs eating dogs. I was such a sucker to think that a pie-eyed kid from Poplar Bluff, Missouri could ever have a dream come true. And Anthony's like, no, I don't buy that. That's not the words of someone who wrote a song like this. He's like, I'm glad they didn't move this piano yet. And so he walks over and starts playing the piano, and he tells them to come over and sing it. And so they start singing it, and then they invite Allison to sing it too. And if you want to hear the song, it's on our YouTube page.
Here's the thing. Sorry. If when people go listen, is what I wanted to say. It seemed to me a little chaotic. The singing for some reason, like or like I know they had other music come in that wasn't just like them on the piano and stuff.
Oh yeah,
but like it seemed like not everyone was singing the same lines or something. I was like, what is happening right now? Maybe it's just me. I don't know if you felt that.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
And then Anthony says, oh, it's a shame Heather didn't get to hear it one last time. And then you cut to her tied up in a chair in her dressing room. So she didn't get to sing either.
Was amazing. I love that so much. I think I went, yes. I think I literally just made that sound out loud. I was so excited that they got her. So proud of that. So it was like, it was a crazy one, but it was fun.
It was fun. It reminds me a lot of that episode of Golden Girls where they do the theme song for Miami. Only like way more nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, that's where some people might recognize Heather from. She was on Golden Girls, as well as like X-Files, as well as, you know, what other things, like Quantum Leap, like so many things that were in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that. Did you have an outfit?
I did. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's on the phone mesh. I had a lot of. All of Bernice's outfit.
Oh, okay. All right.
I really
good.
her first one, I guess, because I really like her sweater. She's got on like a gold turtleneck and like a, you know, chunky 90s sweater that has all sorts of colors of diamonds all over it.
Oh my God.
and her like big like gold earrings, and she's like, she's got to be wearing shoulder pads, and just like the way she answers the phone is really it's really funny.
Oh man, I didn't notice to see if she took off like her earrings every time she answered the phone, just like Charlene used to do.
Aww.
Yeah.
Did you have one?
Yeah. I was just pausing. I didn't know if you
Oh.
anything else.
No.
I liked Julia's. I mean, their end outfits that they had to wear on stage that weren't their costumes were kind of fun. Also,
Yes.
Especially because it had the petticoats underneath. Were pretty great. But I wanted to look. Mary Jo looked a little pregnant. Does Annie Potts have children? I've been doing this lately where I've like guessed when people are pregnant in shows. It's been really fun. But like, and I realized
she has
like,
3 children.
I kind of noticed it in the, pregnant bellies are different from regular. I noticed it in the bathrobes that she had her belt like really high up, like underneath her boobs. And then just now I was looking I was like, we didn't see her stomach that much in this episode.
Yeah, he was born, her son was born in 92. So good call.
I think she was pregnant because she was behind something a lot of this episode. I was like watching it. And she's behind something again for this picture I have of my outfit, but her outfit isn't my favorite. But I was like, I think she may have been pregnant. I may look next episode and see if they do it. Like, I love the whole like carrying a big bag in front, or like they just did this on Brooklyn Nine-Nine twice with one of their actresses who got actually pregnant in real life. The first time they didn't really do anything about it. She just pretends to be pregnant. The second time they then have like elaborate ways of like hiding it. It is so funny to me. I just love it. So my favorite outfit was Julia's purple plaid blazer type thing. So she's wearing it could be a dress underneath, or maybe it's a skirt, a black shirt underneath, and then she has this like blazer that is plaid it's purple with looks like blue. Either blue or different colored purple stripes, and like the big stripes are black. And I just like, I would wear it.
It's a good look.
I thought it was really good.
I also liked
could not
her,
get a good shot of it.
Her when she had like the plain kind of black shift dress, but it had like the button up collar and stuff. That she was on point this episode. Yeah,
it was a good one. Sometimes they just, although it's so funny about looking at Mary Jo and Julia right now, their hair is pretty big always.
Yeah,
so, like, and it's big,
enormous.
Yeah, and so just I was really Jan Hook's hair. I was really impressed by because she usually just has like a little bob.
But it
was big. Love it. So impressed. Leslie, is that our episode?
That's our episode.
Where can people find us?
All over the internets. We are the Girls Who Came to Sugar Bakers on iTunes and our Podbean site. We are Sugar Baker Girls pretty much everywhere else, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, Pinterest. If you like us, please take a moment to rate and review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast. It does help us reach more people. And speaking of listening, thanks for doing that thing that you do.
That thing you do.
Aww. If any of y'all got to watch the live watch party last Friday, it was amazing. And if you didn't, it's probably on YouTube under the Wonders page.
You know what? I might need to watch it.
It's so cute.
Because I was like, we're already into it. I can't catch up. But I
you
probably could have just gone into it. I can watch it on YouTube. Oh, man. Okay, should we say goodbye, Leslie?
Yes, we will talk to y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy.
That's not working.
Oh no. Oh no.
That was so dramatic. Oh no.
I'm just channeling today's episode.
Look.